Designed to track a continent at a critical crossroad, power is being consolidated in Ivory Coast, while unchecked chaos in Tanzania threatens the entire East African trade corridor. From border politics to a major sports expansion, our headlines today prove that Africa's challenges and triumphs are inseparable. This is the African News Update on top Accolade News. The headlines: Ivory Coast court confirms Ouattara's fourth term. Tanzania Unrest threatens regional commerce. Museveni urges Ugandans to focus on wealth creation for sustainable development. Tunisia repatriates 10,000 migrants. We open in Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast Constitutional Court on Tuesday confirmed President Alassane Ouattara's re-election for a fourth term, solidifying his continued rule after last month's vote.
On obtenu Monsieur Alassane Ouattara 3 millions.
The council, led by Chanter Nabana Kamara, validated the result despite opposition criticism of democratic backsliding. With this decision, Ouattara extends his 14-year tenure. In parts of Africa, power seems easier to win than to relinquish. From political confirmation in Abidjan, we turn to the economic consequences of political turmoil in Tanzania. Kenya's Trade Minister, Linky Yanjui, has warned that post-election violence in Tanzania is shaking investor confidence and disrupting trade across East Africa. Protests erupted after President Suluhu Hassan disputed re-election with 98% of the vote, triggering internet shutdown, port closure, and fuel shortages that halt shipment through Dar es Salaam. The minister said the unrest was impeding movement and curtailing investor confidence, while analysts cautioned the chaos could scar Tanzania's image as a stable hub. In the heart of East Africa's trade corridor, one nation's turmoil has become every neighbor's worry. Southwards now, where Uganda's long-time ruler preaches prosperity over pavement. President Yoweri Museveni has called on Ugandans to prioritize wealth creation as the key driver of national development, warning that infrastructure alone cannot lift citizens out of poverty. Museveni highlighted the need for greater participation in commercial agriculture, manufacturing, and services to boost economic productivity. He argued that true development lies in increasing citizens' purchasing power and expanding the tax base. In Uganda's growth story, he said, "Roads mean little without riches on them." From wealth creation to migration control, Tunisia has returned roughly 10,000 irregular migrants, mostly from sub-Saharan Africa, under a voluntary program coordinated with the International Organization for Migration, as Brussels presses North African countries to curb crossings into Europe.
In the month of April, Tunisian authorities say they dismantled about a dozen camps like this.
Weekly flights have facilitated the repatriations, with authorities emphasizing that Tunisia will not serve as a transit route. Thousands of migrants remain stranded in southern towns, living in makeshift camps after being blocked from sea crossings. While the effort reflects a drop in irregular migration, critics warn that humanitarian needs risk being overshadowed by border politics. You're watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Morocco's diplomatic triumph at the UN is rewriting the Western Sahara narrative. Morocco has declared 31st October as a national holiday called Unity Day to celebrate national unity and territorial integrity after the UN Security Council endorsed its autonomy plan for Western Sahara.
The United States is resolute. President Trump is resolute in his support for peace.
The resolution, backed by 11 countries, described Moroccan sovereignty with genuine autonomy as the most feasible solution to the 50-year-old dispute, while Algeria and the Polisario Front rejected the move. The decision renews the UN peacekeeping mission's mandate for another year, solidifying diplomatic support for Rabat's stance. Back home, Nigeria is turning inwards, not politically but for survival. President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on Nigeria's security training institutions, including those of the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, citing outdated facilities and inconsistent training standards as a threat to national security. The announcement comes as the government seeks to overhaul this institution within 30 days, addressing deficiencies that have long undermined the effectiveness of Nigeria's internal security personnel. Analysts argue that while the initiative is urgent, it highlights years of neglect. A nation cannot be secure if those tasked with defending it are trained in decaying classrooms and outdated curricula. To the personal journey of one of Africa's biggest cultural exports, Nigerian Afrobeat star Burna Boy has revealed that his exploration from Christianity to Islam and other faiths has left him uncertain about spiritual truth. The Grammy winner said he was raised Christian, but converted to Islam before delving into other beliefs in search of meaning, only to find more confusion than clarity. Describing religion as a controlled mechanism, Burna Boy said he remains deeply spiritual and believes in a higher power guiding him. In his words, "The more I researched, the more confused I got. A confession as raw as his music." And finally, a story of triumph. The Confederation of African Football has expanded the Women's African Cup of Nations from 12 to 16 teams for next year's tournament in Morocco, running from 17th March to 3rd of April. Cameroon, Egypt, Ivory Coast and Mali, previously eliminated, were reinstated as the best 4 losers based on FIFA ranking. The joint holders Nigeria, South Africa and 10 others in a competition that doubles as Africa's qualifier for the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. As Morocco hosts both men and women's tournaments within months, the continent's football spotlight now shines firmly on Rabat, as women's football in Africa is no longer an afterthought, but a rising force. These stories echo the human hustle across Africa's vast heart. We don't just report the noise, we chase the why behind it, for truth that sticks. I am Ojarume Okocha, and this is the African News Update from Top Accolade News, keeping you connected to the pulse of the continent.